be seated. Good morning. Some time ago, I was hanging out with some of my colleagues, and we began to talk about how each of us got involved with the church as adults. What brought us to the church, why we go to a community of faith. My friend Gina told the story that when her parents were getting a divorce, the church was the only place where she received support. It was her youth group leaders who understood her best. And from that point in her life, she always went to church. My friend Kathy piped in that she attended one day with a friend and found that it was the only place she ever experienced real peace of mind. It is the church on Sunday, she said, where I can get quiet time, decompress, and where I get fed. Someone else said that they returned to church when they wanted to raise a family. They wanted their children to know the Christian story and to be informed about the Christian traditions. Everyone gave a lot of interesting and varied reasons for going to church, and I found myself reflecting on this question in the weeks that followed. I found myself asking, why did I join the church many years ago? Why is the church important to me today? What do I need to get from a community of faith? I came up with a number of good reasons, but I concluded that the most obvious reason that I need to be with and in a Christian community is that I need to be reminded again and again about God's grace and God's overflowing abundant mercy for all of us. I need the church to remind me that there is another way to see the world besides the one that our society touts. I need to see the vision that God holds up for the world. And without the church, without a community of faith, I'm afraid that I am hopelessly lost in my somewhat jaded, judgmental, and limited point of view. Allow me to give you an example of what I'm talking about using the parable of the prodigal son that we just heard. This is perhaps the most famous parable in the Bible. Volumes have been written about it. Dozens of painters, theologians, and biblical scholars have expounded on this story. For example, one of Rembrandt's most famous paintings, The Return of the Prodigal, is based on this parable. And the renowned Dutch theologian Henry Nouwen published his most famous work, The Return of the Prodigal Son. This Christian classic details Nouwen's spiritual journey based on his encounter with Rembrandt's painting. The story of the prodigal son, which appears only in Luke's gospel, is held up by the church as one of the clearest and most extravagant examples of God's grace and mercy. Within the context of the Christian tradition and the faith, this becomes clear, but left to my own devices, I must admit I can easily see this story in a much different light. I mean, to be honest with you, I never really liked this parable. On first glance, I see a very textbook case of a dysfunctional family. Why do we even like these people? They seem like a hopeless lot. Let's look at the facts. First, The younger son, asks his father for his inheritance. I mean, really? Seriously, who does this? Who would say to a parent, "Give me now what I'm going to get when you're dead"? What a jerk. Then the father gives it to him. What is he thinking? My parents would have had killed me. The son then goes off and squanders all of the money. I mean, he parties down. He's having a great time until the money runs out. Then he returns to his father. And let's really look at what happened here. He doesn't return because he's sorry about the way he treated his dad. No, he doesn't show 1 ounce of remorse. He returns because he is hungry. He is destitute. The party is over, and now he goes home and cries to Daddy. He goes on his way, but not until he practices his well-crafted lines, which he plans to use when he sees his father again. "Father, I have sinned against heaven and earth before you, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me like a hired hand." Now, before the son can get these words out of his mouth, before he even gets to the house, the father sees him on the road and runs out, and with compassion he embraces him. Then he orders a party. "Give him the best robe, kill the fatted calf," he tells the servants. I mean, this father is quite the enabler, don't you think? He is rewarding bad behavior. He is giving in to his son's antics once again. And I bet the son knew his dad's weak spot, and now he's taking full advantage of it. From this point in the story, we don't hear any more about this wayward son, but I would lay bets that a week from Tuesday, he's pulling another selfish stunt. I wouldn't put it past him to take that robe and that ring and sell it and squander that money as well. Then there is the older brother. He is really mad when the father heaps all this attention on the troublemaking member of the family. And isn't that really how dysfunctional families work? The whole family is focused on the troubled kid, and no one else gets any attention. Now, come on, family therapists, tell me what systems are in play here, and how can we change these well-ingrained patterns? Yes, I could go on, and I could frame this story and many others like it according to my own bias and my own short-sighted, judgmental view. But just before it's too late, the church intervenes, and the Christian community, the community of faith, comes to my rescue and gives me another way into the story. A way that says, yes, the son may be problematic, but God has given him another chance. The view that the church holds up lets me know that God has a wide, merciful embrace and will rejoice when the one who has been lost has returned. This view says that life can be restored, and we all have value despite our faults, foibles, and issues. Don't close the door on anyone or anything. We all need another chance. We all need unconditional love and the gracious, abundant mercy that God bestows. We are all redeemable. We all have value, no matter the circumstances of our lives, despite our issues, real or perceived. The prodigal has returned his father welcomes him with open arms. I mean, he doesn't even wait to hear an explanation. He sees him on the road and he runs with compassion to embrace him. Rejoice. New life is possible. Nothing is ever as it seems, and God has a different point of view. I need the church to reframe my reality and the community of faith to help me make a paradigm shift. I need a shift in body, mind, and heart. Perhaps we all need a conversion experience. Perhaps we all need to drop our judgment so we can begin to see people as God sees them. When we can see another way into the story, when we can catch even just a glimmer of God's point of view, then we can begin to view ourselves and all people as God sees us. And we can become like the Father in the story, welcoming all unconditionally with a warm embrace. Amen.
Amen.